Well, thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on this Easter weekend. So, in my presentation, I will talk about the Writing Center. I will give a little bit of background on what it is, what kind of services we offer, followed by a look at its past, present, and future, as well as a little bit of analytics, statistics on how we are doing. So who we are, we're juniors, seniors, and graduate students, well, aside from myself. Mostly students are English majors who have training in writing instruction. Students are undergoing, in addition to training that they have already received as part of their regular coursework, they are also getting ongoing professional development throughout each semester. We are one-stop shop for formatting, paper development, and editing. What we do, we offer help at any point in your writing process, including brainstorming and outlining, development and organization, formatting and citations, including different styles such as MLA, APA, Chicago, or whatever other style your professor requires to write in. And specific editing concerns. And the more specific your question is for us, the better help we are able to provide to you. What we don't do is we don't proofread papers, write papers, change content, and guarantee grades. Proofreading papers or writing papers or changing content would amount to plagiarism, which obviously we wouldn't do. Our clients are mostly students who come from all kinds of majors and classifications, and that includes undergrads, grads, ESL, but unfortunately not at this point virtual college students or cross-border students in China. We also get occasionally clients who are faculty and staff too. We're open to any member of the campus community. The history of Writing Center is one that has gone through multiple stages. The Writing Center got its own name in 2003 after an action plan was put into action. But before that, the Writing Center was predated by the Writer's Workbench as well as the Computer Assisted Instruction Lab. And I will talk a little bit about the history now. Oh, sorry, I think this slide is a little bit misplaced, but if I could just, before I get into the history, sorry, to go back and sum up our mission statement, and that is the Writing Center is committed to creating a safe, respectful environment for students, staff, faculty, and alumni. While focused on how is the English department, we serve the entire campus community. We welcome clients of all levels of ability to receive individual tutoring on any piece of writing at any stage of the writing process. Because we believe that learning to write is a lifelong process, our goal is to create better writers through one-on-one instruction and intensive grammar crash courses. Our team of undergraduate and graduate tutors is trained to provide you with resources, tips, and techniques across a variety of disciplines. This is a fairly new mission statement that we developed just a year ago by analyzing our clients, by analyzing what we do and the services we offer. So to go back to the history of the Writing Center, first there was a new computer. We had a computer lab in 1988. In my understanding, and I don't know much about the history of the place since it's only my second year here, but my understanding is that computer lab was called the Writer's Workbench and it functioned for 10 years. We have, at that point, there was 10 to 31 Unix terminals that was meant to accommodate 3,000 active users, 800 of which were actively enrolled in English comp courses, while other users were getting help in non-English classes, having completed comp requirements. And at the time, it was intended to have 100% coverage for full-time students. In 1994, there was another development, and the computer and another computer lab was set up. And a couple of years after, there was an upgrade to that computer lab. So that computer writing lab functioned from '94 to 2002. It got the support of an action plan, $100,000, which was a lot of money. And what it allowed to do, what it allowed the university to do was to replace Unix terminals, older Unix terminals, with newer PCs, as well as get new equipment at the time, such as CD-ROMs. Now, of course, it's outdated equipment. A scanner and a laser printer. And we've had that laser printer for up until like last year, I think. So we also got upgrades to our software. We got Windows, the Windows operating system, which was a big deal at the time. Word, Writer's Help, Page Mail, via Voice, which was voice dictation software, various dictionaries, and software for ESL training. That was all done under the directorship of Chris Baer.
You had a whole lot of workstations, a whole lot of computers, 39 computers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like a big number.
Yeah.
Because students didn't have their own computers at the time,
Okay.
so we needed to provide for them.
Right. Today we have a set of laptops, which tutors use in one-on-one tutoring sessions with with students. So, and then in 2002, an action plan was put into place, and that action plan provided for the creation of a writing center, and a new writing center was opened in 2003. The proposal, the action plan, was put together by John Kerrigan, Cheryl Duffy, and Albert Garretts. And the writing center, from its opening, was very successful. Just in the first semester of being open in 2003, it got 353 visits. The creation of the Writing Center was made possible due to the cooperation of John Kerrigan, the director, John Ross, the director of the library, and Stephen Trout, who I believe at the time was the chair of the English department.
No.
Well, I was trying to reconstruct the history from the
No,
post
I think
parade,
he
but
was he might have been on that committee with us, but Al Garretts actually was chair at the time.
Okay.
And then I was chair after him, and then Steve was not chair until like 2008.
okay. Subsequently, the Writing Center was led by Dr. Cheryl Duffy, Pamela Schaefer, who recently retired, and in the last couple of years by myself. In 2002, another action plan was put into operation, and the Writing Center was relocated from the basement to the first floor where it is currently located. We got laptops under that action plan, so all tutors have laptops that they use in one-on-one consultations with students. We also got a number of Chromeboxes and desktops, as well as a large screen monitor that is now positioned in the tutorial, in the group tutorial room.
What's a Chromebox?
A Chromebox is basically a lighter version of a desktop. It costs less and it has less processing power, but it's enough to run browser, like a browser, and do simple things like in that browser.
You can use Google Drive and Google Docs and all of those.
We also set up recently a Writing Center website on Google Sites where we put up a number of important things. One is we put up profiles of our consultants or tutors. And the important part of having, let me just go to that Google site. So here under our consultants, we list and update photos and profiles of our consultants with the idea that students who want to make an appointment for a consultation can browse through tutor profiles and decide who they would be served by. Because tutors come from different backgrounds, and so a good fit is important.
I like the statements you have, kind of that little paragraph that get to know me.
That's their personality shows a little bit.
This is our current set of tutors and GTAs. So we have two GTAs at the moment. We have Tyler Weiser and Hannah Badenhop, both of whom are doing an exceptional job in managing tutors and the activities of the Writing Center. Well, other important things that that are here are the Writing Center handouts that we use regularly use, hard copies of which you can get in the Writing Center. But if you just want a quick reference, you can get one of those off of the website.
Are you going to redo that in the campus template at some point, or? I just know we're going through some CMSing or whatever.
This is not actually part of the Fort Hays website, right?
Well, it is a Google site through the FHSU, through my FHSU Gmail account. So I mean, in that sense, it is officially affiliated. However, we would like to bring more consistency in terms of web design. To bring it in line with current design, the current design template. There's a number of problems here. One is it's hard to add GTAs to enable GTAs to edit this website. The Google site format allows the GTAs to easily log in and make changes to content. But the CSS system, I'm hoping I'm using the abbreviation correctly. CMS system, yeah. Right? I've tried using it myself. I found it extremely, very user unfriendly, let's put it this way. It's hard to, it's very limiting, and it's hard to get the design right. You get very little space. We literally, under the Writing Center, we get a very little box, and it's kind of hard to put all the profiles inside of that little box. And that's why I made the decision to use the Google site, at least at this point, until we can come up with a better alternative within the official.
But if you go to the Fort Hays State web site and you type in Writing Center, will it get you here?
There are links to.
So people will get here eventually.
They will get here eventually, yes. Yeah, unfortunately, there is the, I mean, this is one of the weak points right now, and that is, there is a little bit of digital decentralization, if you will. So, another thing that's up here is online forums. That was one of the innovations that that I initiated. Originally we used paper versions of student intake forms. So for example, here we're asking for student information. When a student comes in for an appointment, we ask that the student fill out this form. And we have always done that, but we did that on paper, after which point that paper information was manually re-entered into a Lotus Notes application, which created an unnecessary burden on staff. So this digitization actually helped a lot. Particularly, it helped us to get real-time access to statistical information that results from this data. And I will give an example shortly. So we have the student intake form here. We have the session report, which is a form that tutors themselves fill out after they've had a session with a student. If a student indicates on the student intake form that he or she would like their information about the appointment be sent over to the professor for whose class they got an appointment, then one of the GTAs will forward a copy of this form, a filled out copy of this form, to the professor. But this is not done automatically, only at the consent of the student. Finally, on our website, we have the session evaluation form, which is a form filled out by students who have had an appointment. They rank, they indicate why they came to the writing center, their level of motivation, and rate the consultants or tutors that they worked with on a 5-point scale for helpfulness, knowledgeability, and politeness. Second. Okay, just a second. So, as I have said, we have digitized 3 forms that were used on paper before, and this digitization allowed us to have real-time access to assessment data. And I am going to again switch back to Google Docs to show. I'm sorry.
I love data.
You were getting into that, weren't you?
I was pretty excited.
So this is a summary of the performance of our tutors since fall 2013. What's interesting here about their performance is that if we look at how our consultants are rated, we get very high ratings. For helpfulness, we get 94.3%. We get 92.7% for knowledgeability and 95.6% for courteousness.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
They're rocking it.
Yeah, pretty good results.
Have your numbers gone up since you moved to the
first floor?
In terms of usage, yeah, and I actually have a slide that will answer your question further on. But first, I wanted to say a couple of words about our online scheduling system. It's not perfect. It's a little bit homegrown, but but it's online, and it helps us streamline our processes. So I'm gonna again switch back to the web browser, and as you can see here, what's happening, and again, the system was developed before we got a new, the makeover of the website. So a little bit, there's the outer layer of the of the HTML page is a little bit outdated here. But a student can create an account here. I've already created a student account for myself here, and once a student logs into the system, what the student sees is who is available and who is not. If a tutor is booked, then you see booked here. If a tutor is not booked, then you see book, and you can click on it. You can't click on booked. So let's say we want to schedule an appointment with Casey Ferguson. We click OK, and an appointment.
It's really cool.
Yeah, shows, and she's supposed to be.
What's nice about this is students, once they get to know the tutors, they can look
Yeah.
and see when their tutor is the person they like to work with when they're working, and go ahead and just schedule right in.
And so that tutor, that person shows up as booked.
Is that just a basic PHP program that they're running on the?
Ask him.
Is that just a basic PHP program they're
It
running
is.
on Big Cat?
It is a PHP program that's being run on the Big Cat, and there is a MySQL database that supports it. I mean, ideally, we'd like to have maybe a dedicated programmer for us who would, make it a little bit more.
Wouldn't we all?
Who would be doing the debugging and servicing the database and things like that. Uh-oh, did I close it by mistake?
Come back.
It's locked up.
Okay, sometimes it's just that it's a glitch with Macs. So
I didn't think Max had any glitches.
They don't.
Don't
No, I know exactly what you mean with the whole dashboard thing. They
what
go on
happens sometimes
different.
is that Windows will just disappear completely, and you have to force them back. So
Well, that's kind of by design.
Um,
It is Mac.
this is our usage statistics, going all the way back to 2004. Unfortunately, we're missing data for the very first year for the spring semester of the very first year. But since this is what it looks like, the number of appointments a year annually. Sorry, I use. So the first line is the number of appointments per year. This line over here is the number of appointments in spring semesters, and this is in fall semesters.
Do you have any guess as to why it's in 07 and then
It's been a big race.
That is a good question. This is the time, I think, when Pam Schaefer took over the Writing Center. Maybe her charisma did the trick.
That's what we'll say.
Marketing.
Yeah.
I have been thinking, I don't know. I have been thinking about it. Were there any major events at the time that were going on at the university?
I remember, I wonder how that would correlate with numbers of international students coming.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have had something to do with it, because, yeah. And I can remember, I was chair at the time, and I can remember that we worked to hire more tutors to handle the load, and we got more tutors. So,
That's no big right
Yeah.
across the curriculum initiatives, or?
no, not really.
And of course, another interesting thing that that we could look at here to analyze data would be to actually compare it with enrollment numbers and see what's going on there.
Was that at the time when they got the newer computers?
I don't
No.
think so.
No?
That was earlier.
Yeah.
That was like in,
Have you ever, so this is something that
Interesting.
comes up in libraries all the time, so I'm going to ask you guys if you've ever thought about, have you ever tried to correlate the success of students overall who use the Writing Center against, I don't know, retention or grade
you
point
have to control for a
average?
lot of variables.
You really
You know, in
would?
terms of, it might be, even though it's not always the case, by any means, that this, the students who need the help the most are the ones that come to the Writing Center, not usually. The students who need it the most don't come.
The assessment work that we do in the composition program, not in the Writing Center, but in the composition program, shows that students who completed both English 101 and 102 are more likely to be retained at a level of.
Much higher rate than the campus average.
We're just often asked, what's your value as a library? And I didn't know if you had that similar, and I've been just trying to think, how do you sort of,
How do you
how do you
measure?
drill into
I
that?
mean, it would be an interesting study,
It would.
to have a grad student working on a thesis.
Or you could say, take several factors, library, Writing Center, how do these contribute to?
And the deal is,
Sorry, we're
I mean,
derailing.
in our field, that sort of quantitative research isn't done much, so.
We will try to work more on the quantitative side of things and look for, for data patterns. Hopefully they will reveal something. Well, with the exception of this outlier, we generally see a stable increase in the usage of the Writing Center. So what kinds of concerns do students come in to us with? Well, the first table here in this slide gives us a distribution of concerns based on, well, we call them low-level concerns, such as, high-level concerns versus low-level concerns. So high-level concerns such as development of paper, organization, response to assignment, paragraph structure, transitions, focusing a thesis, documentation, evidence, argumentation, outlining. Unfortunately, there is few requests on the part of students for us to work on those areas than there are on low-level concerns such as grammar and sentences, word choice, punctuation, styles, documentation, spelling, and formatting. We get far more concerns in this area. And it would be, and we certainly work with students to sort of reorient them towards higher level concerns, but this is just an interesting observation that perhaps tells us that we should be, in our classes as instructors, be also setting the right priorities for students when they write.
So is that pulled from those forms that the student fills out? Or
Yes.
fills
The tutor
out?
fills out.
So could it be that they don't recognize what their needs are? I mean, they wouldn't
They can't
name it
articulate.
what it is, yeah.
Partially, yes, absolutely. Students do not fully, yes. They'll just say grammar, and grammar is just such a.
Writing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
exactly. So we are, it seems from the data, we are a campus-wide service. It is true that English and composition courses are 23% of all consultations. But if we look to see what the other subject areas are, we see all kinds of subject areas. Information literacy, international marketing, communication, liberal studies, finance, political economy, ideology, ethics, and the list goes on and on and on. So that is, it seems to show that we have a campus-wide mandate.
Yuri, what does information literacy refer to? You have one of my favorite topics.
I believe they have a course in information literacy, or as some.
About our
It must be
801,
IDS.
the IDS 801,
Could be.
803.
That's the
What are
only
we,
information
801?
literacy course that I
Information
know
literacy.
of.
Although you really should see how. Sorry.
That's okay.
I was going to say, you really should see how students write that. So information literacy, information liberacy, liberteracy, or.
Perhaps a lack of literacy in there.
That thing you're making me take.
So yeah, so this is one of the most common subjects that they come with. Courses, really. That's the course titles. So I don't know.
I'm interested to see college algebra.
I thought screenwriting was interesting.
Final
I can see
project.
that. College algebra.
And very interesting.
That's really interesting though, because we teach the information literacy class, and between English and our class, it's the top.
Which makes sense.
I guess that makes sense. It just makes me feel good.
Well, and I think some other classes teach lessons in it that they could be referring to too. Because ours would be all online students, so.
Could be.
Yeah, that's true.
What is the future of the Writing Center? Well, for next year we are getting 3 GTAs, which is one more. That's a positive development. 2 years ago we had only 1 GTA. This year we had 2. Next year we have 3. So we are growing, I guess. We have a plan for we would like to do an action plan or an equivalent of it for a virtual GTA, meaning that to offer services to virtual students. As you probably know, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, our services are not available to virtual college students at this point. They have to use smartthinking.com, which is a third-party contractor service. We also have an action plan proposal for cross-border EFL, cross-border EFL GTA, who would be helping with tutoring virtually, of course, students in China. Right now, we have 1,084 students enrolled in English 101 at CIOS.
That
So-
person could really be inundated.
Well, we would have to, set up some boundaries, in terms of limits on that person's workload, of course. And then, of course, there's the issue of the difference in time zones. But I think we can offer at least some availability to our students in China. We don't know what's going to happen with the new engineering proposal. It remains to be seen. Are we going to be part of the Learning Commons? Is the English department going to maintain operational control of the center? These are all questions that are up in the air, as they are with many other units on campus. But we look forward to the future, and we look forward to serving the campus-wide community. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I don't know what's happening with reorg. None of us does for sure. I think we're all kind of waiting to find out. I don't perceive that the idea has ever been that the Writing Center would report to the Learning Commons, but would be a partner in the Learning Commons. And when I think about the Learning Commons, we've just started having some conversations here. I think it's been kind of a misunderstood concept. But for me, that's where a group of partners come together and they say, hey, we need some spaces to do X, or let's put together a series of events, and I'll put a speaker here and you'll put a speaker there, or let's purchase some equipment together that we can all use, or, you know, let's think about this space differently so things, well, you know, that's what I have pitched in terms of learning commons. Now, I don't know if that's going to report to me, if it's going to report to IT, if that's going to report to somebody in Wisconsin, who knows? But I'm not too concerned about it. I think the point of a learning commons really is partnership, not ownership. So I'm really hopeful that we're all thinking about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, the data shows that we have, that the English department has been doing a good job of managing the Writing Center, producing good quality. So, I mean, that will be our argument for, you know, leaving it as is. So.
It makes sense for it to report where it does.
I mean, it is true that other universities, in other universities, writing centers are part of are under student services. It's a possibility, but you know, but in this case, why fix something that's not broken? So that would be our rationale here.
Yeah, my only experience with the Writing Center is at KU, where the Writing Center, as it is here, was located in what we called the Anschutz Learning Studio, which was a learning commons, but it was totally run by the Writing Center. And, you know, they had a group that met together again and talked about, you know, common needs and issues, but, so.
Well, we hope
Left foot,
for.
right foot.
I wish I had thought, I might have somewhere in some file cabinet, the Writer's Workbench. Writer's Workbench was actually a software program. That's what Writer's Workbench was at AT&T, and it was the most cumbersome. A student would enter their paper and they would get like pages of printout analysis of it. It would do like a readability scale, it would count the number of to-be verbs, it would flag your passive voice. It did like sentence level, mostly sentence level textual analysis. And then, yeah, it was.
Microsoft Word is now doing a lot of that. Plus, there's also another company called Grammarly who have been trying to push their product on me for a long time. I don't think it's, you know, I think they want like $5,000 a year for subscription, and I don't think, you know, it's a good investment.
Everything's set up on a subscription model too anymore, so once they suck you in, you pay and you pay and you pay. You've all become libraries now. Subscribers.
Are there any questions about the Writing Center?
So if you could dream big, I have to ask you to dream big. If you could dream big, what would you change? What would you add? What would you do next? What would be utopia for you?
Well, I think
Writing Center Utopia.
Writing Center Utopia.
I think it would be nice to have
Walls.
walls.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Sort of like maybe cubicles for privacy for students and tutors. Yeah, just walls where you would, and walls that would have better sound insulation, so that, you know, let's say there's a group tutorial, so that there's not much distraction to other students in the Writing Center.
You hear everything we say, we hear everything you say. I know.
Pretty much, yeah. So, I don't know if it's big or not, but I mean, I think we need to expand internationally. You know, virtually, we need to offer virtual services. I think instead of paying for subscription to smartthinking.com, you know, we could do that here. And I think we also should be providing services to our Chinese partners.
We've got that same dilemma.
In the library?
I mean, yeah, I mean, we have the same, how do we deliver service to our Chinese students and
In terms of like database access and that kind of.
yeah, and consulting.
Yeah.
How do you form a research topic? Some of the same sorts of things, honestly, you know, that you all do too. But how do you link up your research topic to the right databases and the right journals? how do you get them to stop period is one piece.
And then, of course, yeah, I don't know if it's the firewall would be an issue, or, or if it can be avoided.
Right now, it's not.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's that Google toolbar problem that they had on the website where it was taking forever to load the Fort Hays website in China because of, they were blocking Google.
Ah.
And the search box is based on, so there are some of those, but as far as I know, when you come to the library to search a database, you come in and we pass you on through. And so if they block the New York Times, then that service is blocked whether you come through us or you go directly. But for the most part, I don't think we're having too much trouble with blockages. But we just haven't heard it yet. This has been great.
Well, thank you for coming. I have some Writing Center
Oh, good.
bookmarks, so if you would like to
I was
have
hoping
one.
for a pen.
Sorry. Maybe next time. We'll
And how old-fashioned of you.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Mark,
can
you
see
hear about the lack
How
of.
about a stylus?
Get with the modern age.
These are nice.
Those are nice.